Hi guys, we're back with Red, and we'll just jump straight in because we got a real good card to cover first. Melancholy of the Genius Girl, Kurisu Makise, it's Chris. It's a brainstorm. I'll spoil that for you now. It's a fine brainstorm. Self-tap and salvage, which is, perfectly reasonable archetype. Some people like search better. I don't think there's a significant difference. I like search better, but it's not a significant difference. And it's got at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you may put the top card of your opponent's library in the waiting room. If it's level 2 or higher, you draw a card and ditch a card.
This effect was
Um,
more effective approximately a month ago than it is now. Quite
you don't say.
unfortunately.
Well, Mari got banned, so that's one less effective usage of it. Um,
It's a
I don't know.
solid
I
effect
think this
otherwise.
is, yeah,
It's
I think it's a
just
fine effect. I think you do generally want to blindly fire it off because um, I don't think you're going to mill your opponent enough over the course of the game that they will significantly benefit from it. Assuming you don't just, chuck this down turn one for no reason whatsoever.
it's also a free attempt at a hand fix, just like on
Yes,
a
of
regular
course.
basis throughout the
So
game. So
yeah, and it's not a bad hand fix either. Draw drop is great.
people also just forget about this card when they're doing
Mm,
their turn. So what happened to me a lot was I would have this card, and my opponent would just go through their turn, and they'd just forget about the card, and then they'd start their attack phase.
yeah,
They plan their entire like deck out, right? They have the exact perfect amount of cards
yeah.
left in
So
deck, but except
they're
they
gonna
don't
have
because this
exactly one
card
card
isn't
left.
about yeah yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Except
yeah.
not
So
because this card isn't
they
in
enter
effect
attack
yet.
phase. Exactly, they enter
They
attack
play
phase. So
climax.
when they
They think
finish,
they're so
yeah,
smart. Yeah.
when they finish, all their climax goes back, and they have one card in deck, and haha, I've got my slightly improved compression, well, significantly improved because climax goes back, but then this ruins it. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is good if your opponent misplays. It's just a free hand filter. I think this is the best brainstorm to set by a significant margin.
The other one was tap
I
two
don't
away,
know.
so yeah, that's probably correct.
Yeah, but this also has like an effect I don't hate. I'm just gonna give it an A. I don't think there's a reason not to run this.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
I don't think there's a reason not to run this. All right. Next card. Katia Maid. Ferris. When this is placed from hand to stage, choose another Labman character, gains 1/5 for the turn, and it's a level 1 bomb. Why is this a double R?
It was double art sunshine.
That doesn't make it
You have an
right.
SSP in
Like,
sunshine.
yeah, well, we can have precedent and still be really stupid. Like, I don't know. This is, as all
Oh,
bombs are, like an answer to a problem that may or may not exist. It's fine to just have, because I don't know, man. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing that would make you want to play it.
I'd normally
It's a
put it down
fine
to
card to have access to.
a C minus, but this
Like a,
secondary effect isn't bad. So
you can treat it as like a 1/0 pumper, like a Gucci Mikan type card, but
yeah,
uh, I don't know. Even that sort of card wouldn't get more than like a C from me anyway.
yeah,
So yeah, we can just kind of rate it like that and be done with it. It's just not a particularly effective card.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. So next card. This is not Summer Pockets, not no, not me.
Who?
This is
Uh,
what is this?
something
Special lab.
Makise.
It's special investigation lab or whatever. Special being, my bad. Makise Kurisu is a 3/2 climax combo with gate. So during your turn, if all of your characters are lab men, this gains 2k power. And when this is placed from hand to stage, check the top three, add one to hand, ditch the rest, and climax combo. When this attacks, if you've got the gate in the climax zone, you may pay 2, ditch card from hand. If you do, deal X damage to your opponent, where X is the number of your level 3 or higher characters, and then this gains 1k for it. So, um, this is very easily like a burn 2 or burn 3, depending on what you want. Um, and you can even get because there's a level 3 what's her name?
Meyer.
What is her name? Level 3 Tuturu, yeah, Mayuri support, which means you can have a level 3 in the back row and not feel bad about like having just a random level 3 on field as well. This digs for its own climax. This is like a fine cost for burn. It's customizable. I don't think there's any way to customize it mid-battle unless
Standby.
your opponent. Okay, sure, if you trigger a standby. But that's not something you can reliably plan around, is it?
No, but
Yeah.
if
So
you run
it's a way to
standby,
modify it, but
it is just something we
yeah.
should be
So
aware of.
yeah. Well, sure, you don't actually have very long for this to happen because this is on attack, which means, yeah, well, whatever. Point is, if you do trigger a standby and you decide you want to burn for less, you can get a level 1 or whatever and play it over your level 3. Or if you decide you want to burn for more, you can do the exact opposite and maybe even get some value from your Mayuri. I think this is a fine combo. It's pretty powerful. It digs for its own climax. It's yeah, it seems good. I'm not sure about A. Well, A minus I can probably get
I'll
on
give it
board
A
with.
minus.
Look, it's a good climax. It is a
Good
it
CIC
digs. So
gets big.
yeah, it's. I mean, getting big is like whatever. It's not super big on the opponent's turn. It is with like a Mayuri in the back, but that's hardly an argument for this card. Everything's big with a Mayuri in the back. The point is, it's on a gate. It's customizable. It's pretty powerful, and it is a good come in play that you might even play even if you aren't playing the climax. So yeah, solid card. I think I would start trying to build around this if I were trying to build Steins Gate. I'm not, but if I was, then I'd probably go with this. Next card, Gear of Destiny, Makise Kurisu. This is the one that
It's a level swapper.
you need. Yeah, it's a level swapper. You need this for the Okabe Advanced Summon, right?
Yeah.
Not that that's particularly relevant, but yeah, this is a global 500. You can tap 2 cards to swap a level and then give one of your characters a level for the turn. That ability is basically never relevant. Like you can't even pick your opponent's characters for shenanigans. I'm not really impressed by this sort of card, but it's fine to have access to. If I want to run a global support, this would definitely be in the conversation. I don't often want to run global
It's
support, though.
probably
That's the
more
problem.
likely that you choose a global based on color, though, right? In that scenario.
Yes, I think so. Although I think that yellow's covered with the
Ricky?
pseudo
Yeah, you're right.
Ricky,
I think, is there a blue
and
global? I
red.
think blue is probably the
I don't.
bigger concern.
Blue is the hardest to fix for probably because red you've got the brainstorm and oversizes or whatever you can pick from any color.
Yeah.
But like, I'm fine with this card. It's nothing special. Right, next card. Brain of the Lab, Makise Kurisu. Oh, this is these ones are always all right. When you place this from hand to stage, if you have another Kurisu or Mayuri, this gains 2k for the turn. And during the turn this is placed from hand to stage, when you reverse something, you may pay 1, then rest one of your other standing Kurisu or Mayuri cards. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 Kurisu or Mayuri and add it to hand. So I guess a point in the global sports favor we just talked about is that you can rest it. You can rest it for this, which is it's more than nothing, right?
I don't know if
It's pretty
that.
close to nothing.
I
I
don't
will
think
admit
that really
that.
does anything.
Yeah, like if you're going to use this particular card, I think that you probably have the brainstorm to tap down
This
if
is
need be.
this is a solid profile, especially since you're going to be playing a 2K in front assist at level 2 most of the time.
Yeah,
You
if you
can,
stand by
well,
it out.
maybe not most of the time, but you can run a deck that does that. So like this is going to be pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, I
Pretty
like
easy
this
to do.
card. It's in decks that can either stand by or advance summon a big fatty in the back row. This thing scales pretty well into the late game. In decks that aren't like that, I think it's still pretty good. Like you don't necessarily need to run a level 1 combo if you have a card like this, which is why you can run a deck like say Gate Standby in this set. So yeah, I think this, even though it's a little restricted on what it can get, it gets like basically everything relevant, or like an
Your
approximation of
finisher,
everything relevant.
your healer,
Sure, I'm happy to
your
give it a B plus. It
counter.
seems more than fine.
Yeah, gets
All
everything
right,
basically.
all right. This next card, Rumiho Akiha. This is a standby climax. When you play standby, if this is in the front row, you may pay 1. If you do, stand a Labman character. You obviously do the standby trigger first. I mean, there are situations where you might not want to do that, but The fact that I have to think about that means it's probably never going to come up. So yeah, standby combo. This is generally not particularly impressive, and I'm pretty sure it continues to not be too impressive here.
I don't like it very much.
I've always been of the opinion that playing standby from hand is very mediocre, and while it is a means to an end, I'm not like I don't really care to factor it in too much. I'd much rather just have standby as a possible trigger, get value off it that way, because that's when it's broken, when you keep triggering. Speaking of standby climaxes, this is another reason why standby is like considerable, or you can consider it. Organizer of the Ferris Cup. Ferris, this is advanced summon. If you have 2 or fewer climax cards in your waiting room, this gets -1 level in hands, and it is a come and play heal. When the battle opponent of this is reversed, if you have Ferris Cup in your climax zone, you may pay 1. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent and salvage 1 character. So this actually works pretty well with the climax combo we just talked about at level 2. It's not,
Eh,
it's not overbearing or anything. It's not overpowering.
I don't
And
know about. I don't know if
no, I
you.
mean I don't
What?
know, like I'm not saying I would do it, but objectively speaking, these two work fairly well together. Because getting like
Sure.
some advantage back and getting like, some burn plus a heal and all of that means that
To get like the
these
second
these
hit
are
off
fine
your use, right?
cards.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you like advance summon, then you get another one, and then like stuff happens,
Yeah.
and
You
that's
don't
a
get
fine
reveal
field.
though, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to put in a bunch of work for that to happen. Whereas if you just stand by out the 3/2 Mayuri support, you're getting support on 2 lanes without very much effort whatsoever. So, as with most standby cards, the actual standby combo is a worse combo than other good standby targets. So, look, this card is not terrible. If you're running a heavy Kurisu Mayuri engine, then maybe you don't play this. But as it is, I'm not offended by this card. It's like it's fine. It's a heal at worst.
If you're already
I'm
running the
okay with
standby, it's one of your better healers. So
it. Sure, but you
there's
can't
probably
get
no
it. We can't
reason.
get it with the Kurisu.
What do
I
you mean?
mean, what you probably do is you play
Which
like
Kurisu? Oh, you're talking about the 1-0? Sure.
the 1/0. Yeah, because if this is
Uh,
your early play and you theoretically want to grab something, sometimes that thing you want is your early play, which you won't be able to grab with this. That being said, oftentimes you just draw your early play and search something else. But look, I do think this is a much better card than the card we just talked about, and it's certainly viable as standalone. And it's like it's good with the standby. It's good without, like, I wouldn't say it's good without the standby, but it's fine without the standby. So the cost of running this card is very low. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. There is a cost. It's just not a particularly big cost.
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna give it this grade because it's fine.
Uh,
It's not spectacular.
that's where I'd place it now. Yeah. I thought this card would be a lot better before I got my chance to play with it.
I
But
mean,
it
it
ended up
doesn't have any
just not
native.
being very good.
Go on.
It just ended up not being terribly good
Yeah,
at
like I
level
mean, it
2.
doesn't have any native power, and the idea behind a lot of standby decks is you don't want to spend stock.
Yeah.
So I guess
It's
what you
not big
do is
enough.
you advance.
It's not big enough
Yeah, you
to
advance
rip
some of
off
this.
uh, a lot of level 2 options,
Yeah,
even with the
so you
assist.
advance some of this, but then you have to standby out Mayuri as well. So you like need a bunch of pieces for this to really be good.
And you
And
also just usually need a counter protected, which is kind of lame.
yeah, I'm not surprised. Uh, yeah, so it's fine. It is a playable heal. I'm probably being too hard on it. Like C plus, B minus doesn't really matter. But I guess I'm not really huge on the. My computer started to be silly, so we'll just keep going, I guess.
Yeah.
Next card is Remnant of Days Past, Makise Kurisu. This is another level 3. If you have 2 or more lab main characters, this gains 2k power. So, being 12k passively is maybe a little underrated. It's not like amazing or anything because it doesn't do anything else super good, but it's fine. And when you play this from hand to stage, draw 2, ditch 2, stock 1 from the top of your deck. Um, just, I mean, this is just a really big 3/1, right? That's all it does.
Yeah.
Is there like a reason to play this? I'm not particularly impressed by really big 3-1s. Like if this was let's say this had the early play condition of that the Ferris had, and it was like I don't know 995 or something instead.
Nice.
Oh, let's not even think about that. Let's say it just had an additional early play condition. Would you play
Yeah.
it then?
Uh.
Yeah, I think it.
mm, yeah.
I think so because it's just one cost. That's
Gets you
the major
standby
reason,
too
I guess.
when you need it. Yeah.
Yes, it digs towards standby, or digs towards other climax, or digs
Mm-hmm.
towards anything. Really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reset the Google document because it decided to be a giant jerk.
Okay.
Anyway, we're talking hypotheticals, so it doesn't do that. Standbying this gets you very little value. Like, yeah, it's 12k, but if you have a reasonable size field and you standby out Mayuri, that's just much better. There's an error in the network protocol. What on earth? What? I'm so confused. Ugh, whatever. I'm getting internet elsewhere. Maybe Google Docs is going down for me or something. Anyway, I do have a backup in Heart of the Cards, so we can just
Sure.
we can use that. So next card is learned the ultimate move, Ferris Nyan. It's a 00500. It's another brainstorm. Um, oh, I don't hate this card. I don't think it's I don't think it's better than the double up brainstorm, but I don't hate it. So it's tap 2 brainstorm. For every climax you hit, draw 2 and ditch 1. So it is still a plus. Not a very selective plus, but a plus nonetheless. And at the start of your climax phase, give one of your labman characters 1k for the turn. So I mean, this is fine. It's probably pretty decent with the other Kurisu with the Kurisu combo, I guess. It's probably also fine with the 1-0 Kurisu that wants to reverse. I
Yes.
guess it's not good if you want to brainstorm, but I mean, no brainstorm is good with that card, really. So I don't know. This is a fine thing to have access to. I don't think it's super good or anything.
Yeah. It's just
I'm
alright,
just,
I think.
I'm just gonna give it a. Yeah, I do think running this means there's less. You don't want to run the Carissa Brainstorm as much, so my grade is going to be a bit lower than yours, but I don't think it matters much in the overall scheme of things. Okay, anyway, next card. Follow up to the dream, Makise Kurisu. If you have 2 or more Labman characters, this gains 2k power. When Theory of Relativity is placed to the climax zone, if this is in the front row and there are 5 or fewer cards in your hand, you may pay 1. If you do, choose up to 2 cost 0 or lower characters in your waiting room. Put them in separate slots on the stage.
Man, I thought this card. Man.
This combo looks really good. I don't know how good it really
Uh.
is.
I've never played with it, but it's. I think the problem is just getting the dudes in the waiting room. There's like not too many
Are they
good
good?
cost.
Are
There
they
aren't
good?
enough good cost
Oh,
zero cards, right? That's the other thing.
like I guess you have to rely pretty heavily on the Ricky because that card
Yes.
like you're doing something you want to do anyway. You're getting a guaranteed plus, and you're milling cards in. I guess I don't know. Um, the other thing you do is you just clock the cards, right?
Um. Yeah.
Because they're gonna get to the bin at level 1.
The
Um,
other thing
that
is
being,
like I'm not sure this deck is equipped to do a counter-based game plan very well either. So
it's not exactly a very big card, is it?
um,
Are there good targets? Like, if the best target is the next card we're about to talk about, then we can just scrap the idea entirely because
yes,
that card is complete garbage.
uh, I mean, there's like the Bismarck or whatever. Like there's like generic 6/5s.
Sure. So
None of it's very good,
my instinct is that this is a waifu deck option or a budget option.
basically. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I'm not convinced this is a very good card.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad, and I think that if this set ever gets like a Steins Gate 0 set or something like that,
Yeah, I mean, there's
there's
definitely have
certainly
potential.
Yeah, there's merit towards considering cards like this. There's
like
definitely design space to make cards like this pretty good, but right now, I'm not convinced this is what you want to
so you
do.
get a level 1 oversized clean cut. Now we're
Or it
talking.
could just be yeah, that could actually be pretty dope,
That would be
not gonna
sick.
lie.
Get put 2 clean
Like,
cuts out and then say
uh, you could actually just if you wanted pluses on pluses on pluses, you could just summon the 1/0 Climaxless plus
no you can't.
the on the sorry, what do you mean?
It's on play.
Oh, never mind, it's on play power.
Nice man.
You can't do that. Sucks. Just like this card, which also sucks because it's on play. 1/0 Weld Scene with you, Makise Kurisu. When you place this from hand to stage, specifically hand to stage, this gains 1k and 1 level for
This
the
card's
turn.
really weird. I don't know why it
And
exists.
if the level opposite card, level of the character opposite this is higher than this card's level, it can't front attack.
It's just so weird.
You can see what they're trying to do. Like they want to make this profile, but they also want it to be able to attack into level twos. This would have been like playable in 2014.
Oh man.
We no longer live in 2014. This card is not.
Yeah.
Next card, Operation Valkyrie, Makise Kurisu, 2/1 level 3 support. Gives your level 3 or higher characters 2k power. You can tap this to give a lab man 1k until the end of the turn. This is fine. The fact that the Mayuri exists means a lot of decks, and I suspect one of the better decks in Steins probably don't want this effect. They'd much rather play level 3 beaters and then stand by the Mayuri, but this card is fine. There's no problem having access to it. It's probably fine in Kuri's waifu or something. I don't know. I'm
No,
kind of
it
stretching
works
here.
okay with that plan you mentioned earlier with like getting the 2 uh Ferris is out with the standby
uh
plan.
yep.
Mm,
I'm
oh.
just having fun. Going between this slide and the next slide, it's like two different shots of the same scene. But she's got like the same facial expression.
I forget
Um
what this scene
yeah.
is even. It's been a long
Unique
time.
home cooking, Makise Kurisu. You can't choose this. Your opponent can't choose this, rather. Sorry, no. Your opponent's effects can't choose this because what I just said was strictly incorrect. This cannot be chosen as a target of opponent's effects. When this attacks, if the level of the character opposite this is 3 or higher, it becomes a 12/5 level 3. Um,
It's all right.
this
You know
this
what's
is
really
really
cool with the previous card?
uh you know what's really bad with the previous card?
What?
You can anti-change this.
No, you can't.
What? Yes, you can.
You can't. They text. You can't. Your opponent can't choose it as a target.
Oh, text proof.
That's the entire
All
point
right,
of
I
the.
thought it was bad.
No, it's totally
Yeah,
fine.
forgive me. I was tired. In that case, this card is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm retarded. I just was tired and was not thinking very hard. Yeah, this card is fine. It just beats up level threes sometimes. I mean, most level threes that care to survive will survive because the counter will just get rid of a 12/5. But if you're playing,
Big enough
yeah,
to like beat counters, but
it, it's it forces a counter at the very least. And if you're playing the card we just mentioned, then this card is probably beyond counter range for most decks. So yeah, this is decent. I like it. All right. Memoir of Chaos Ferris. All of your other oh my god, I know it. Yeah, it's
yes.
friggin' vanilla. All your
Yes.
other 3k vanilla Ferris gain 1k power. Tap one of your other standing characters in this. When one of your freaking vanillas is placed from hand to stage, if this is standing, you may do what I just said. If you do, stock a labman from waiting room. How good do they have to make vanilla support before it's playable? That's what I want to know. Like,
This is sick.
deck space is so valuable. Like, it would have to be like
Literal
all of your other
Nyaa, man.
it would have to be much better than that, I think.
No, like the literal card, as in like you Ricky for the vanilla, and the vanilla is your residence target.
It would still need to be better than that.
What? No, it wouldn't. That would totally be
Yes, it
fine.
would.
You could
No, it would
what?
need to be. It would need
So
to
the
be
thing,
significantly
so
better
the
than that.
0-0 resonator would Ricky for the vanilla, and then you just keep using the vanilla to do your thing.
How many vanillas are you playing? Like
Just
2?
one. Yeah, just one.
Oh, okay. I triggered my vanilla. What happens?
Oh, sucks. Run two.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
They're like
It has
Just
to be
treat them
way
like
better than that.
oversizes. Treat them like the
It
oversizes.
has to be so much better
Sure,
than that. Like,
and it gives 500 power to the thing.
the card has to freaking come in play, draw a card like that eagle from Persona 3, and it has to do way more, right? Like, there is no way we even consider these cards till they're broken.
Totally fine. I think that would be playable. I think
All
it'd be
right.
pretty good.
Completely refuted Makise Kurisu during your turn. This gains 1k. When is that? It's a level 1 bomb that gets
What
bigger on
the
your
hell?
turn. I don't know. You're supposed to be able to kill random junk with this. Like, I do not see myself ever playing this, not counting like waifu decks or whatever. Oh, it's happening again. She's got the exact same facial expression in this card and the previous one. Hang on. Wait, I'm getting deja vu. And it's not just because of the picture. During your turn, this gains 1k power again. When its attacks, give a Labman character 1 level and 1k power for the turn. This is a lot better than the bomb. It's still not good enough to like see play or anything. I think you could definitely do worse if you wanted like a buffing card. So yeah, it's fine, I guess. It's really bad against clean cuts. 0025. What? Nera.
I don't know.
Nera. Whatever. Makise Kurisu. 2/5 gets 1k whenever the Labman attacks. I never want to play these cards. They're weak on defense, and the only thing they do is like create a mild offensive benefit in a game that doesn't care about mild offensive benefits.
Is this card worse than the bomb?
You're right. I would play this vanilla before the bomb, but that's me. That's not like an objective evaluation of the card. The vanilla is just better than the bomb, I think, because sometimes it doesn't die. Forbidden Secret Ultimate Move, Varus. It's a 3/5 counter, so it's fine. I don't think I'd ever like. I would never play it because right now every set gets better counters. But in a vacuum, this is it's fine. I don't hate this. Yeah, I'm not gonna give it a D plus. I'm giving it a C minus. I don't hate this card.
Destroy all counters. They suck.
Skilled Rhinet Axis Battler, Ferris. For each of your other Labman characters gains 1k. If your opponent has an Otaku character, this gains Bodyguard. That's cute. This is a standby target. It's not a bad one either.
I think it's a pretty bad one. It doesn't stay on the board.
It's 10/5. It's like, yeah, okay. It's an average standby target.
It's like what?
Yeah, you're probably right. It's not gonna get killed at level 1. Like, that's not gonna happen. Whatever. I give all bad standby targets Ds anyway. Or I would if Google was screwing with me again.
I just don't
Whatever.
think it's worth devoting the slots to. Oh, you give it like a D? Sure.
I gave it a D.
Sure.
Yeah, you do it because I can't
just
edit right now for
the
some
slots, I think.
reason. Speaking of not being worth the slots, 1-0 Ferris events. Both players reshuffle their graveyards into their decks, or waiting rooms, or whatever. So I've been on big, long tirades about this card, high raids, whatever you want to call it. It's a really, really powerful effect, potentially. Like, it could literally win you a game where no other card could possibly do it. But it's so difficult to time and just so impossibly... Like, it's so impossibly situational. This is not a game where you can just at will get rid of a card in your hand. It's not quite Pokemon. Like, there's certainly an argument to be made for playing cards like this in decks that can easily filter. but I don't think Weiss is at that level yet, and this is not a good enough card to play in a deck. So often it's going to do stone nothing except make you neg, and sometimes playing it is actively bad because it helps the opponents. And even when it's good, you don't even like it doesn't guarantee anything. It slants a lot of things in your favor, but there's still a chance it doesn't do anything significant. I
I
don't.
think that aspect of the card is fine. It's just the rest that's not like a deal breaker, basically.
Sure, you're going neg and it might not even benefit you. That's the point. Sometimes you go neg and it does benefit you, but that's not always the case. All right. Next card, Beta Timeline.
Spoilers.
What do you mean? She just fell on like a carton of tomato juice.
Yeah.
Beta Timeline is a 2/1 salvage 2 ditch 1 event. These are always fine to have access to. I've never had an issue with this card existing in my sets. But at the same
You know
time, I'm
why
not
he's pretty
actively
great.
looking. I mean, I was gonna give it like a C as well, not a C minus, a C. This is like a fine card to have at in any deck that plays red. Um, if you had like a flex slot, I would not begrudge you for playing a copy of this card.
Yeah, it's a
Whereas I would
solid.
definitely, yeah,
It's just a solid card.
I would, I would definitely begrudge you for playing the card just before this because of reasons we already
Yeah,
mentioned. But this one is fine.
it's not
It
like
is not too
game
bad.
plan specific, and it's not timing specific. It's
Mm.
just like a card you could draw, and then like it'll just do stuff, right?
The way you superimpose the card, would probably turn some people on.
Uh, oops.
I just noticed it in the little sample viewer, but I'm not going to talk too much about that because we're at the end of red. I'll leave it like that. Peak will probably be happy about it.
Yeah,
So we'll leave it at that, and we'll be back with blue momentarily.
sure.